Grug is screaming. Not because of a predator, not because of fire, not because a mammoth sat on his shelter again. Grug is screaming because he has a deadline. His tribe leader, Mog, told him to bring 17 fish by sundown. It is currently sundown. Grug has 0 fish. And the expression on Mog's face is doing something to Grug's chest that Grug has absolutely no vocabulary for. We now know this feeling. We call it stress. Grug just called it bad rock inside ribs. And that bad rock was about to change the entire history of human chemistry. Here is what you need to understand about Grug's tribe. Stress is not a new invention. The caveman brain was basically a panic machine wrapped in fur and poor decision-making. Every single morning started with an existential crisis. Is today the day a wolf eats me? Is today the day Mog fires me from being in the tribe? Is today the day Og takes my rock and my woman and my entire sense of self-worth? Spoiler, it was usually all three. The caveman stress response was the exact same one you use when your boss emails you at 11 p.m. Heart pounding, vision narrowing, legs wanting to run somewhere, anywhere, even nowhere. The only problem? Grug couldn't run from Mog. Mog was right there, staring, with the fish-counting face. So Grug did what all ancient humans did when the pressure became unbearable. He wandered off. Not intentionally, not strategically. Grug's nervous system simply overloaded. His legs started moving, and before anyone could stop him, he was 3 hills away, sitting in a bush he had never seen before. This is important. Remember the bush. The bush is about to become a major historical event. Grug sat in that bush for what we estimate was approximately 2 hours. He chewed on a leaf because he was anxious, and his mouth needed something to do. He didn't know which leaf. He didn't care which leaf. He was stress-eating prehistoric foliage. Then something strange happened. The bad rock in Grug's chest got smaller. His shoulders, which had been located somewhere around his ears for 3 weeks, slowly returned to their original position. His jaw unclenched. His eyes, which had been doing that wide terror dart for most of the afternoon, went soft and unfocused. Grug looked at the sky. The sky was very blue today. Grug had never noticed that before. He sat in that bush for another hour, just watching the sky, then a bird, then a rock that looked a little like Mog, which made him laugh for a while. When Grug finally stood up and walked back to camp, the tribe noticed immediately. His posture was different. His face was different. The caveman who had left camp looking like he was about to be eaten had returned looking like a caveman who had forgotten that being eaten was an option. Og walked up to him slowly. "Grug okay?" Grug looked at Og with the eyes of someone who has briefly understood the universe. "Grug," he said calmly, "fine." This was suspicious. Grug was never fine. Within a week, 3 other tribesmen had found the bush. Within 2 weeks, the bush had a waiting list. This was humanity's first wellness retreat. Nobody called it that, but that is exactly what it was. A collection of stressed-out primates taking turns sitting in a shrub, chewing mystery leaves, and temporarily forgetting that their lives were a series of non-stop emergencies. The tribe leader Mog was furious, not because the bush was dangerous, because the tribe was becoming relaxed, and a relaxed tribe does not bring 17 fish by sundown. Mog tried the bush exactly once. He sat down, he chewed 1 leaf, his enormous, constantly clenched jaw slowly unclenched for the first time in recorded memory. He looked at the sky. The sky was very blue. "Mog," he said quietly to nobody, "also fine." This is where it gets psychologically interesting. Because the bush didn't actually solve anything, Grug still had 0 fish. Mog still needed 17 fish. The wolf was still out there. The mammoth was still eyeing the shelter. The bush didn't fix the problems. The bush just temporarily convinced the brain that the problems were slightly less catastrophic than previously estimated. And here is the uncomfortable truth that will make you feel personally attacked. That is the same thing you are doing right now. Every scroll, every snack, every "I'll just watch one more episode," every time you put on noise-canceling headphones and pretend the email doesn't exist, you are sitting in Grug's bush. You have always been sitting in Grug's bush. The leaf has just changed shape. The bush discovery eventually spread across tribes, different leaves, different regions, different versions of the same fundamental need. Make the bad rock in the ribs stop, even for a little while. Because the caveman brain never evolved to handle modern levels of stress. It evolved to handle short bursts of acute terror followed by long stretches of calm. Run from the wolf, survive the wolf, rest, repeat. It did not evolve for 40-hour work weeks and a phone that never stops making noise. So when the stress piled too high and the brain couldn't process it anymore, it went looking for the bush. It always went looking for the bush. It still does. You do it, I do it. Everyone sitting in an office pretending to work while actually spiraling internally does it. The specific leaf changes. The basic desperation doesn't. Grug never brought Mog his 17 fish. He did, however, discover that sitting in nature and breathing for a while made the next day slightly more bearable. He did that every evening after that, not because he was wise, not because he had figured something out, because the bad rock in the ribs was real, and he needed somewhere to put it. The mammoth outside the cave looked at Grug one evening as he sat quietly watching the sunset. The mammoth did not sit down. The mammoth did not know about the bush. The mammoth was still stressed. Poor mammoth. Modern humans have developed thousands of sophisticated methods for stress relief. Therapy, meditation, breathwork, exercise. Entire industries built around the same problem Grug had in that bush. But on your worst days, when everything is too loud and the chest is too tight and the world is moving too fast, you find your bush. You always find your bush. Because some things aren't modern at all. Some things are just Grug. Sitting in a shrub, chewing a leaf, watching a very blue sky. Finally, briefly, fine.